Stop scrolling. What if I told you you are living inside a prison you can't see? Not made of walls, not made of bars, but made of beliefs. Your opinions, your fears, your assumptions. Sounds wild, right? Like some sci-fi movie plot. But this isn't fiction. This is your reality right now. For most of you watching, these invisible bars were already in place before you even knew how to tie your shoes, before you learned your ABCs. They were installed when you were just a kid, probably before your 10th birthday. And the crazy thing, your own brain works overtime to keep them there, to protect them, even when those beliefs cause you pain, even when they limit your entire life. This isn't some conspiracy theory. It's a deeply wired part of being human, a phenomenon scientists call cognitive bias. And it's silently pulling the strings on almost every major decision you make. From what you spend your hard-earned money on, to who you decide to vote for, to who you choose to love, and even what you genuinely believe is possible for someone like you. If that thought makes you feel a little uneasy, a little uncomfortable, then good. You're beginning to see the outline of your cell. Let's dive a little deeper into this. Imagine you're walking through a forest. You think you're free, exploring every path you choose. But what if, without you ever noticing, a series of invisible fences were put up around you as a child? You can't see them, but they guide your steps, pushing you down certain trails, making other paths feel impassable or simply not worth taking. This is exactly how your beliefs work. They aren't just thoughts, they're the invisible architecture of your mind. Think about it. Where did your ideas about money come from? Was it your parents constantly saying, "Money doesn't grow on trees," or "We can't afford that"? Maybe you absorbed the belief that wealth is only for a select few, or that you have to work yourself to the bone to earn a modest living. These statements, heard repeatedly, often become deep-seated convictions that dictate your financial choices for the rest of your life. They become a fence around your earning potential, unseen but very real. Or consider your opinions about people. Perhaps you grew up in a place where people from a certain background were always talked about in a particular way. Maybe you absorbed the belief that they are all lazy or untrustworthy or too aggressive. You never consciously decided to believe this. It was just there, installed. And now, without even realizing it, these prejudices might influence who you talk to, who you trust, who you avoid, or even who you could fall in love with. It's not about blame, it's about awareness. These aren't necessarily your original thoughts. They're echoes from your past, reverberating through your present. The most fascinating and frankly terrifying aspect of this invisible prison is how your brain actively works to keep it intact. It's called cognitive bias, and it's like a personal bodyguard for your existing beliefs. Your brain hates inconsistency. It craves a stable, predictable world. So, when new information comes along that challenges one of your core beliefs, one of those invisible fences, your brain doesn't usually say, "Oh, interesting, let me reconsider." Instead, it often throws up defenses. Take, for example, confirmation bias. This is where you actively seek out, interpret, and remember information in a way that confirms what you already believe. Let's say you're convinced that a certain brand of car is unreliable because your uncle always complained about his. From that point on, every time you hear a negative story about that car brand, you'll instantly latch onto it. "See? I knew it!" And if someone tells you a positive story about that same car, your brain might dismiss it, rationalize it, or simply forget it. It's like having a filter that only lets in news that agrees with your personal worldview, making your prison feel more and more solid, more and more true. This isn't about being unintelligent. It's about how our brains are wired for efficiency, for survival, and for maintaining a consistent self-story. Our beliefs form our identity. To challenge a core belief is to challenge a part of who you think you are. And that feels dangerous. It feels like you're losing a part of yourself, even if that part is actually holding you back. So, how does this invisible prison control what you buy? Marketers are masters of understanding cognitive biases. They know that if they can tap into your existing beliefs or fears, they can influence your choices. If you believe you're not good enough, they'll sell you something that promises to make you better. If you believe security is paramount, they'll sell you insurance or home alarms by highlighting the dangers you already fear. Your purchases aren't always logical choices. They're often emotional reactions, driven by the beliefs rattling around in your invisible cell. Think about who you vote for. Political campaigns rarely try to logically change your mind with facts alone. They appeal to your existing biases, your tribal loyalties, your fears about the other side. They frame issues in ways that confirm your group's beliefs, knowing that you'll instinctively defend those ideas even if the facts are shaky. Once you identify with a political party or ideology, your brain becomes fiercely protective of it, filtering out dissenting opinions and amplifying supportive ones. You're not just voting for a candidate, you're defending a part of your belief system and who you love. This is where the prison can be most heartbreaking. We carry around blueprints for our ideal partner, often drawn from childhood experiences, stories, or societal expectations. We might unconsciously filter out wonderful people who don't fit that rigid mold, or we might repeatedly be drawn to relationships that echo old, harmful patterns. All because our brain feels comfortable in the familiar, even if the familiar is damaging. We build walls around our hearts, not realizing they're made of old fears and assumptions. But perhaps the most limiting aspect of this prison is how it dictates what you think is possible. If you were told you weren't smart enough for a certain career, or talented enough for an art form, or brave enough for an adventure, those words became invisible chains. You might genuinely believe, deep down, that those things are simply not for you. You don't even try. You self-sabotage without realizing it, because your brain is protecting the belief that you can't, confirming its own internal prophecy. The prison doesn't just hold you back, it convinces you that you don't even want to leave. This brings us to the scariest part of all, the real kicker. The most unsettling truth about this invisible prison is not that you're in it, but that you will fiercely defend it. You will argue for your limitations. You will justify your fears. You will cling to your opinions even when presented with overwhelming evidence that they might be incomplete or just plain wrong. Why? Because these beliefs, these invisible walls, have become part of your identity. They define who you are, what you stand for, your place in the world. To question them feels like an attack on your very self. It's easier, in the short term, to stay in the familiar discomfort of your cell than to face the terrifying freedom of the unknown. If hearing all this made you feel a little prickly, a little defensive, a little uncomfortable, then pay attention. That discomfort isn't a bad thing. It's the first crack in the wall. It's your brain signaling that something important is being challenged. It's the sound of the prison guard stirring. And that, my friend, is actually good. It means you're alive, you're thinking, and you're starting to ask the right questions. It means you're ready to, at least, look at the bars. If you want to see the bars that hold you back, subscribe.